Welcome to Daybreak Plus on WGRZ Plus. It is 9 o'clock and Patrick's up on the roof, and it is not a bad morning out, but things are going to change at some point a little bit later, right, Patrick?
Hey, compared to tomorrow, I say we get out the tiki torches, the swim-up bar.
It's picnic time.
Yes. You know, there is a swim-up bar here on the roof. Not many people know that. But yeah, that could go into good use today. Just compared to tomorrow, okay? Of course, we are kidding. Temperatures are mild compared to where we're going, but still on the cool side. There's a look at your bus stop forecast with, I know probably everybody's at school by now, so we'll move forward from that. All right, a look ahead today. We've got a couple of rain showers are possible this morning, maybe a sprinkle, but it's this afternoon when rain and snow turns to all snow by this evening, and there will be a gusty breeze. You can see the system hasn't really developed yet. It's kind of congealing. Cold air to the north, moisture to the south, and this is the result. This afternoon, this is a 4 o'clock snapshot of rain and snow turning to snow tomorrow morning. We're dealing with snow and cold and periods of snow into the afternoon, and notice how temperatures holding in the teens. So there we go. All right, the long-range forecast. So periods of snow tomorrow, also Friday, but Friday will be warmer, with temperatures climbing to around 30. And I think that snow develops on Friday. Maybe not so much in the morning, but the second half of the day. Snow showers again on Saturday. Now we're at 34, but it gets colder again on Sunday with some snow showers into next week. So certainly a turn to cold and snowy weather over the next 7 days at least, Pete.
All right, thank you very much, Patrick. 9:01 now on Daybreak. In this just into our newsroom, we're hearing from the African American Cultural Center after accusations that former staff and board members pilfered money and kept poor records of where that money was going. Erie County Comptroller Kevin Hardwick says a recent review revealed that the center may have received more than $350,000 in excess funding from 2020 to 2022. We reached out to the center for comment, and we got this statement this morning. It reads in part, quote, "The organization is actively collaborating with Erie County officials and Comptroller Hardwick to address and resolve the findings from the 2025 report, while remaining focused on delivering important cultural, education, and community programs that have long defined the AACC's mission," end quote. And we're getting even more details about a story we first brought to you on Daybreak early Monday morning. It's about a drive-by shooting that happened on the 190. The victim is identified as a 32-year-old man and is still in the hospital. Now state police are revealing more about how this shooting unfolded. They say the man was inside a car with 2 other passengers. Police say they were driving from a bar in downtown Buffalo, headed to the falls, when a dark-colored car pulled up beside them, and someone in that car fired shots between the Vulcan Street and Kenmore Avenue exits. We're told the man was shot 3 times and had to undergo multiple surgeries. He's expected to survive, but troopers say this shooting was not a random act of violence, and there's no threat or danger to the community.
Most of these shootings or drive-bys or different things, acts of violence like this, are typically not random. They're very isolated. They're I don't want to use the word targeted, but they're very isolated to that specific incident or specific people. So I don't want people getting in their cars thinking, you know, oh, I might be driving down the thruway or some roadway and, you know, have a car pull up and, you know, shoot me. But that is a very random thing that we're not seeing here in Western New York.
And state police are asking anyone with information to contact them right away. Governor Kathy Hochul is laying out her vision for New York. She did it during her 2026 State of the State address. In Albany, she talked about her plans for affordable child care, the issue of ghost guns, and putting safety measures in place for kids online. To On Your Side's Kelly Dudzik has that story.
After banning cell phones in schools bell to bell, the governor's now proposing new protections for social media users under 18. As part of the plan, the governor wants to create a new office called Digit, the Office of Digital Innovation, Governance, Integrity, and Trust. The agency would be responsible for creating new online safety measures and enforcing them. The governor says she is already working on certain demands for social media companies.
Let's block direct messages from would-be child predators, number one. Let's disable AI chatbots that can cause serious mental health problems. Let's block location sharing. Why should they know where our kids are? And let's do more to cut off access to online sports gaming so our kids are not ensnared by addiction at a young age.
On your side.
That was Kelly Dudzik reporting, and we are now hearing a response from Republican leaders who say people across the state are struggling with rising costs, declining public safety, and no clear path to address the problem.
My colleagues across the aisle have made bad choices in Albany that have directly contributed to this crisis. Under one-party rule, New Yorkers are living in the most expensive state in this country. Families and businesses are being crushed by unaffordable grocery trips, housing costs, energy bills, property taxes, healthcare costs, you name it.
And State Senator Chan was chosen by the Republican conference to respond to the governor's address. He says Albany needs to be more transparent. Well, Cheektowaga residents are sounding off because of concerns about ICE agents in their community. A large group of them addressed council members during a town council meeting last night. Daybreak's Natalie Foss has that story.
It was a packed house here at the Cheektowaga Town Hall last night as residents came and shared their concerns for alleged collaboration between the Cheektowaga Police Department and ICE. There were about 25 people signed up to speak last night during the public comment section of the meeting, which only lasted about an hour. Then a large majority of the crowd left. Residents that spoke cited recent violent interactions with ICE, like in Minneapolis, while Town Supervisor Brian Nowak assured the crowd that's not what their officers are doing.
We have all seen the footage from across the country showing that these masked cowards continuously lie, overreach, act illegally, and jump to violence at the drop of a hat.
We're not sending the police department to do the federal government's job in terms of immigration enforcement. Our officers aren't masking up and covering their names and throwing all their training by the wayside. You know, our local police force is fundamentally different from what's going on with the federal government, where they're given these sign-on bonuses. Training is just over a month when our officers locally are doing over a year of training.
Two on Your Side spoke with the Cheektowaga Police Chief last night off camera, and he declined to do an interview. Today we'll be continuing to reach out to the police chief as well as to the police department to try and figure out their reaction on last night, as well as what they have to say about that alleged collaboration between them and ICE. On Your Side at Cheektowaga Town Hall, Natalie Foss, Channel 2 News.
All right, Natalie, thank you. It is 9:07 now, and this morning, the federal case against Tops mass shooter is back in court for the first time for 2026. Later this year, Peyton Gendron will go back on trial and could face the death penalty. Even though we are months out, the work to seat an impartial jury is already underway. Attorneys have been working to finalize a list of questions that potential jurors will be asked. Those questionnaires will be filled out in the coming months, then reviewed. Prosecutors and the defense team will continue to push this process forward when they meet at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And a Lancaster woman who admitted to stealing nearly $2 million from a medical practice is expected to be sentenced. 54-year-old Bonnie Beauvais pleaded guilty to 1 count of grand larceny and 1 count of offering a false instrument for filing. The Erie County DA's office says that Beauvais started sending checks from Highgate Medical Group to herself back in 2017, and that went on for about 7 years. Officials say Beauvais would then alter computer records to cover it up and use the stolen money to pay personal expenses like her credit card bills. However, a co-worker noticed issues with a check. That prompted an internal audit. Beauvais was later fired. She has agreed to pay back the stolen money, but still faces a maximum of 25 years in prison. And we're following a case back in court later this afternoon. There will be a hearing for controversial Buffalo landlord Charles DeBucky. He is the former owner of 2 St. Louis Place in the city's Allentown neighborhood, a location known for repeated crimes, trespassing, and in one case, a body was found on the property. DeBucky was arrested back in April on outstanding housing court warrants and a charge of false impersonation. The city took ownership of 2 St. Louis Place last month. Stay with us. We got to look at your forecast, and we're going to take a quick break right now, but we'll be right back with more Daybreak on the other side. All right, 9:12 now and Daybreak, and as the Bills get ready for that trip out to Denver, the team is going into their next playoff game with some banged up Bills.
Man, did you see our injury report compared to the Broncos?
Yes.
There's like one guy with like a chipped tooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to what we've got.
It's like this, and I haven't even made our way into volume 2 of the Bills injury report.
Man.
But anyway, luckily, Channel 2 sports reporter Jonathan Acosta has, and he hears from the team and shares how they're going into the next few days.
As the Bills get ready for a divisional round trip to Denver, they're dealing with the heavy price they paid for the wild card win in Jacksonville.
Yeah, another guy's got to step up. That's, point blank what it means.
Not one, but 2 wide receivers now out for the season with torn ACLs after Gabe Davis and Tyrell Shavers were injured in the game. Shavers playing 22 more snaps after injuring his knee.
Every year there's injuries. You expect the injuries. It is a part of the game, and the amount we've had this year it's significant.
Not an ideal situation, but I still trust that room completely. Whoever we bring up needs to step up, and we have full confidence that they will. This week is going to be very important throughout the practices that we have, and making sure that we're getting on the same page with timing and just understanding where guys can go. Try to utilize their strengths to the best of our abilities. I got no doubt that whoever's going to be up in those spots is going to do their job, step up, and then help us win or help us make plays.
Adversity and altitude, 2 good words to sum up this week's trip to the Rocky Mountains. Resilience, a good word to sum up the Bills overall this season, and it's a characteristic they'll need to have on display once again when they visit the #1 seed in the AFC.
Obviously, it goes back to training camp and building our roster the way we did, and guys hanging with each other and really trusting each other off the field, and I do believe it pays dividends on the field.
We're going to need everyone. I mean, that's the short answer and the simple truth. We're going to need everyone. It's a great team, #1 seed in the AFC, and they've earned that. So we're at their place. It's that type of game, and you've got to be able to do your 111th at a very high level. If we don't make the adjustments this week and the improvements we need to make, it's going to be really hard, awfully hard on us for us to get a win out there. I mean, they're just that good. So we've got a hill to climb in front of us here.
On your side in Orchard Park, Jonathan Acosta, Channel 2 Sports.
All right. Well, you know what? They've been doing this all season long.
Right.
How many times have we looked at the injury report and say, okay, how are they going to do this? And,
right.
And they've been able
Next
to meet
man
that
up.
adversity and next man up. So hopefully that holds true in Denver.
Yeah, I think that the one that's going to be the hardest to replace is Poyer. I mean, the wide receivers, I feel like that's a real next man up position.
Yep.
But Poyer, who many thought was like, why are you bringing back all these, veterans? Him and Trey White turned out to be maybe the 2 best defensive players that we have.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the pack mentality kicks in Denver, and they can get back to that next man up mentality. All right, next up for the Sabres, the Broad Street Bullies coming to town at KeyBank Center tonight. The Philadelphia Flyers take the ice, and the Sabres are going to try and bounce back from Monday night's close game against the Florida Panthers. Some good news on the injury front for the Sabres. Head coach Lindy Ruff says that Michael Kesselring is really close to returning to the lineup. He's been out since late December with the ankle sprain. As for tonight, game starts at 7:30 at KeyBank Center. So hopefully they'll learn something from Monday. Monday, Florida played the Sabres. It was a perfect game plan against the Sabres. They just kept them clogged up on the boards, didn't let the Sabres use their speed to their advantage. That's been kind of their bread and butter through this whole string. And they just kind of bogged the game down, and it was basically a question. In fact, Lindy said it yesterday, that question of who's going to make a mistake and who's going to cash in on it. And so hopefully the Sabres will be able to kind of find their way through Philadelphia a little easier than Florida.
This is a tough matchup too, Florida?
You know what?
Philadelphia?
The way the Sabres have been playing this year, I think every matchup has got the potential to be a tough matchup. It depends on how they play. And I think the entire league is looking at the Sabres and saying, okay, when is the bubble going to burst? Or is this for real? So I think with games like this, when they drop one, They lose a tight one. If they come back and play well, that's the true sign of whether this team is for real and they're really a good team or a team playing well. So.
Yeah, well, they lost to the Blue Jackets, but then they came right back and beat Vancouver.
Right.
So it's like, okay, how do you respond to a loss? You don't want to start losing 2 and 3 in a row.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, moving on
what a
to
hot take
Orly.
that was.
That was a hot take. You don't want to keep losing. You want to win more games than you lose.
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure if you score more goals than the other team,
you have a good chance of winning.
That's right. All right. Well, we are talking a merger in Orleans County. There are plans to merge the football teams at Albion and Medina. It's a new combined football program that would be called the Orleans County Rivals. The team would compete in varsity, junior varsity, and modified levels. District leaders say declining enrollment and a low number of students playing football have diminished the quality of both schools' programs. The Medina Central School District's athletic director and head coach tells Two on Your Side that mergers like this are not uncommon in New York State.
We're not alone in this fight to try and stay alive and be viable programs. I think I counted, and there's just over 20 merged programs out of like 65, 66. I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen a lot of mergers and studying the data and working with all the people. It's come down to one real simple thing, and this is what's best for kids. And I'll go to bed happy knowing that that's my truth. Some people might not agree. Some people just hate change. But at the end of the day, looking at everything, we feel that we're doing what's best for our kids in 2 different districts. It is something really special that, it's over 130 years old, the rivalry. And it's kind of strange, but I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to kind of bringing that rivalry together and making something special together.
Yeah, and Valley says he hopes that they have a definite answer and a possible vote on the merger by early next month. The next Albion School Board meeting is February 9th. The Medina School Board meets the very next day. And, that's tough. You got these towns that have deep-seated rivalries. As you said, this one more than 130 years.
That's crazy.
And it's always been the Purple Eagles against the Mustangs. So
yeah.
Maybe they should call them the Purple Mustangs rather than the Rivals.
Did you have one of those in the 70s?
Purple Mustangs?
Purple Mustang?
No. But my roommate had a purple Pacer.
The Pacer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Those were awesome.
But
yeah, I did not realize that, the rival was such history.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine kind of not having that anymore and merging.
But the reality is it's a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people question, okay, where are these players going? But you think about it, when we were in high school, when I was in high school, your school either had a soccer team or a football team.
Okay, my school had chess club and a cooking class.
Right, but the thing was, you didn't have all these choices.
Right,
you didn't have 4 or 5 fall sports options, and so I think the number of athletes are getting spread out, and also youth sports. Kids are almost forced to choose their primary sports at a very young age and focus on that one sport.
And it seems like the interest in some of the classic sports may be shifting. Like baseball is not as popular with the kids now compared to lacrosse.
Yeah.
That's become a little bit more popular. So.
But even baseball. Yeah. Now you got your spring baseball, and you got your fall ball, and you get your winter ball.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be a year-round sport. So these kids are getting kind of stretched out, and I think that's why you're seeing the numbers kind of diminishing in certain sports than the way they used to be, where kids would play anything. You put a football in their hand, we're going to play football today, right?
Exactly. Right.
All right. Well, we are going to take a little break, but we'll be back with a look at weather, and Patrick has got some great news for us if you like snow. All right, changing the guard all across the NFL. The NFL stunner of the day, though, Mike Tomlin stepping down as the head coach of the Steelers after he spent 19 seasons in Pittsburgh and never had a losing season. He is not expected to coach anywhere else next season. And now nearly 2 decades of consistency has ended in the AFC North Division. And this comes a week after Baltimore fired John Harbaugh, who had coached there for 18 years. Kind of interesting to see. I can't believe it was 19.
What really irritates me is that he's been coaching for 19 years and he's younger than me. The guy's only in his early 50s. And he's already had a 19-year career for one team. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, you've been in broadcasting for 72 years, right?
Almost. Yeah. Getting close. 30.
So what do you think? I mean, is he going to decide to step back, come back as a coordinator somewhere, or just say,
or television? That's the rumor.
Yeah.
He's kind of a colorful personality, so maybe he would shine on TV.
Yeah, well, he's never, and that's amazing. Never had a losing season.
That's pretty impressive.
Pretty good. All right, well, which companies do you think of when you think of America? Well, Time and Statista, I think it's Statista, surveyed the country ahead of the nation's 250th birthday, and it turns out Ford came out on top. Time found that the car manufacturer had not only commercial success, but also is deeply ingrained in the American identity. Apple finished second on the list with its technological advancements. Coca-Cola, Walmart, and Amazon rounded out the top five.
Amazon, as you know, Amazon started off as a shoe company. And then he got into books.
Right.
And I was living in Seattle when he started Amazon. And it was, we had heard of it, but it was like this little shoe company. And then they got into book selling, and then now it's the most
you can get anything.
Powerful company.
Anything in Amazon.
Right.
I always said that we had a version of Amazon in Western New York for years called brand names. You could get anything through brand names, but you'd have to go to the store, look through the catalog and say, okay, I want that. And then 5 minutes later, someone would come out of the back room and roll your boombox down the conveyor belt, and you were on your way. Yeah.
The boombox. You remember it would have the tape deck? Oh my God.
The dual tape deck.
The dual.
So you could
record. You could
make your mix.
You could make your mix. Oh,
you were the king of the mixtapes, weren't you?
Oh man, I had my summer mix and my jam band mix and my yacht rock mix and
going back to the 80s.
Yep.
And we are also going back to the 80s with this next story. The mullet contest at the Pennsylvania Farm Show is a sight to behold. Hundreds turned out Monday as kids, teenagers, and adults showed off their carefully coiffed mullets, all taking their shot at the championship crown.
People come in their outfits, they spice up the mullets for this event, so they really show up, they put out their best hair, and we love to see it.
What makes a good mullet?
Whew, a lot. Definitely the length. That is like a big factor. We love the style, your flair, do you have accessories, your presentation. When you say we love the style, which we are you talking about?
I think she meant she.
Yeah,
it's all business in the front and a party out back. Right?
Yeah, the mullet is certainly something that it changed over the years. When I was in college when the mullet started to gain its popularity and its reputation. It started out just soccer players and hockey players.
Right.
And a lot of Canadians were wearing that, which were soccer players and hockey players. And then it got a name and took on an identity of its own. And Billy Ray Cyrus put it into
I was trying to think. He was the. See, in California, it was more called in the 70s and 80s flow. You had the Sean Cassidy flow.
Yeah, but that was different. That was different.
Yeah.
That was feathered back hair.
Yeah, right.
That wasn't the mullet.
Right.
That wasn't.
I'm just
shaved
saying that
on the
was.
sides.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You had Brian Bosworth out
that's right.
Turning the mullet on its ear.
But who was the Leif Garrett? Also had a kind of a mullet flow combo.
Just long hair.
Just
that was pre-mullet. Come on. You're going to David Cassidy, Sean Cassidy.
How many morning
Leif
shows
Garrett.
in this country are talking about Leif Garrett this morning? I can only name one.
Yes, we're the only morning show that remembers Leif Garrett. Or was it Leif Garrett?
I think it was Leif.
All right, let's take a look at weather before we go deeper into this rabbit hole.
Yeah, we've got, did you say 2 in show?
Yes.
Oh, so we need some maps. Okay, stand by. This is a live look.
What did they do at the river?
Yeah, no kidding. We've got some clouds out there, some light rain is possible that will begin to mix over to some snow. You can go over to Max 1 now, and you'll see that we have quite a scenario with cold and snow on the way. In fact, we've got, hold on, I've got the wrong system up. I didn't know we were doing this. Hold on. Stand by. Let's get to our weather impact alert. There we go. Beginning this evening into tonight, where we expect to see I would say some 2 to 4 inches of snow expected tonight, and then another 2 to 3 tomorrow. This is expected to really affect potentially the morning commute tomorrow, but also the bitter cold with wind chills near 0 and actual temperatures in the teens. So yeah, you're going to want to bundle up, it looks like, so with 4 to 8 inches of snow and bitter cold. So that's how it looks. And it looks like we'll have more cold and snow into the weekend and next week as well, with temperatures expected to moderate a bit Friday, Saturday, but then get really cold again Sunday into Monday.
Real quickly, with rain to snow, are we expecting any ice?
No, it's going to be, roads should be wet. And then it's not a rapid freeze like you can get.
Okay.
But it will get a little slick tonight.
All right, so tune in early on Daybreak tomorrow for the latest weather as you start your Thursday. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everyone.